my gosh, it's the first live of 2020. Let's get this music going. Oh, that's not the right music. Ah! They're killing me. There we go. Yay! I am so excited. It is 2020. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. I am super excited that Marci is going to be our first guest of this decade. Marci, you just set a precedence. Welcome, everybody. Oh, my hair is kind of upside down. Hold on. I will bring you in very shortly, Marci. I'm trying to fix my hair. Let's get hyped. It's 2020, and we are here to get our minds together. Not let anything stop us. Not let anything stop us. Not let anything stop us. Nope, not in 2020. Not let anything stop us. Not letting anything stop us. Not letting anything stop us in 2020. Welcome to the Sweet Life Cafe. Welcome to my online talk show. Very excited about this first guest of 2020, of a new decade, a new year. It's going to be good. Mine has already had its challenges, but it's all good because they're just to make me better. My body's trying to do funky stuff, but I'm not letting it. Marci, go ahead and share this while we're waiting for this music to play out. And anybody else is on there, share because you want to be here tonight. You will get your questions answered about your mental health, your mindset, how to walk in your steps that you want to see that God has laid out for you for this next decade. We do not have time to play. This is not a dress rehearsal. Let's go. Hey, Wendy. We are getting our minds together tonight. We're starting off 2020 strong. Strong, strong, strong. Strong, strong, strong. Strong, strong, strong. Sing it with me. Strong, strong, strong. This is probably the last, and hopefully the last I'm going to play this. I'm coming out with new music. As soon as my music producer sends it to me, aka my son, music producer. So if he comes on here, I'm going to yell at him because I'm waiting for it. But I'm so excited. Welcome to the first talk on my online talk show, The Sweet Life Cafe, for 2020. I'm very, very, very excited. All right, let me get my last little sip of tea here. Grab your beverage of choice. Grab your beverage of choice and have a seat. Oh. Grab your beverage. Sit it down. Grab your notebook. Let's get to work. Ain't no time to rest. Ain't no time to play. It's time to take this decade and run away. That was good, right? That's my next step. That's my next gig. All right, let me get this music turned off. Oh my gosh. My iPad's not responding to my fingers today. I was trying to fade it out, but it's just not wanting to. Okay, we're just going to cut it off. Welcome, welcome, welcome to a new decade. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. This is the first live of 2020. You guys, I am so excited for this new decade. I have been for the last 2 to 3 years, we have in our home and in life, we've been there's so many challenges that have hit us and we pushed through so many things and we've tried so many, it's been a good rough. I don't know if that's a good way to put it. It's been rough, but it's been a good rough. A good rough. Because I feel like it's molding me into the woman I'm supposed to be. So I'm so excited because, oh, hold on. Don't go anywhere, you guys. I forgot one thing. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there. I'll be right back. Don't go. Forgot my book. I'm sorry, guys. Oh my gosh, how could I do that? Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Ah, now I'm sweating. Okay. I had to run down because I forgot one thing. So this decade is going to be, we're starting fresh, we're starting new. We're going to be creating and walking in the steps we're supposed to walk in, become the women we're supposed to become. And I'm really excited about the new workbook I just created. I had to run downstairs. But coming up in 2020, at least in the next month, I'm going to start talking a little bit more about my new workbook, Overcoming the Fear of Starting. And this is a hands-on workbook that I'm really excited about. So over the next, on January 22nd, January 26th, I'm going to be doing lives, and I'm going to start going through the steps that are in this book. It's going to be a general live talking about it. But coming up next month, I'm going to be teaching a master class for a small number of women to bring you in, and we're going to go through each of these steps together. We're going to take you through a goal, intention, and something that you want to achieve. And we're going to use the workbook to do that. And I'm really excited because it's written in a way that you can use it for any goal. Big goal, little goal. I want to wash dishes quicker. You can use it for that. But I'm super excited. So you don't have your copy, grab that on Amazon right now, Overcoming the Fear of Starting. Or you can go to my link in my bio, and it's right up there. So with no further ado, while I catch my breath, I'm going to bring in Marci because I'm really excited. I'm going to let her introduce herself, but just a little bit about her real quick. She is a psychotherapist. She does therapy. She does group therapy. She does classes. She's a speaker. And she spends her time really talking about health and wellness, mental health and wellness. So I'm going to let her give her full intro, and I'm going to bring her in right now. Here we go. I'm going to try to sit a little higher here. There we go. Ah. Here she comes, Marci.
Yay! Yay! Oh, hi.
This is so cool. I'm so glad you're here. Yay.
I know, I loved your intro music. It was fun to dance to.
That's my jam to get me like, then I had to run down steps, and I'm like, I got to cool down. Marci, thank you so much. So, as part of like the new workbook I have, Overcoming the Fear of Starting, the first step is mindset. So that's why I wanted to bring on, and it just happened. We just kind of connected, and the timing of it was completely ordained. So Marci, tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So my name is Marci Gray of Gray Matter Health. So my private practice is called Gray Matter Health. And I am a social worker and psychotherapist. And I do individual, group, family counseling. But in addition to all that, I teach social workers and police officers, paramedics in different things, whether it's compassion fatigue or suicide intervention, different things that I teach and do workshops on. And what else do? I run my own workshops through Gray Matter Health, and I have one that's going to be coming up, a mental health awareness workshop in February 29th. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's a lot of nutshell, girl. That's a lot of nutshell. So how did you get in? Because, I work with a lot of social workers. I'm a nurse by profession, and this is my passion. How did you even decide to become a social worker? What brought you there?
So I felt like, as a kid, I always felt like I had a good life. Like I grew up with my mom, grew up with my dad in the suburb. And my cousins lived right next door. We had a happy childhood. And I can't say, that anything huge and traumatic happened in my life that was, and I used to look at other people's lives and think, like, I need to help them. I just need to be a helping hand. And so I just found at a really young age, I felt really grateful for where my life was. And I just always had that feeling of wanting to help other people. So when they were asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? I never ever said like a social worker or social services, but I just knew I wanted to help people in some way, shape, or form. And I knew I couldn't do nursing because my mom's a nurse. I couldn't do the blood and gut, and that makes me queasy. I had asthma as a kid, so I was always in hospital, and there was nothing about hospitals that I loved.
It's
So I
freaks
knew
like
I
me
couldn't
who
do
love
that.
the blood and guts and
So hats off to you for being a nurse
live
and
for
doing
that.
what you do. I highly respect the work that you do.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise. Now, had this roll over into psychotherapy?
So yeah, so actually I feel like being in social services for so long, you kind of think that you know everything about social services and helping people. So mental health was not the big thing that it is today, but it was a thing, and we kind of knew that people struggled with their mental health. But nothing really taught me about mental health until I had an episode myself. Until life hit me real hard, and I didn't realize, like, you know, first of all, when it hit me, I was like, I couldn't figure out what was happening with me.
Oh, wow.
I remember feeling like teary and sad, but then I was kind of in the closet doing that, like, you know, locking myself in my bathroom, having these sad episodes, and then trying to pull myself together and do all the things that I do. And then I realized little by little, like, this wasn't working. And so I had to get some help. And so when they were saying to me, well, this sounds like, you know, anxiety and depression, I was like, no, not me. Like, I'm the helper. I'm not supposed to be having anxiety and depression. I'm not sad. I'm not a sad person, as I told them as the tears were coming down my face. Right. And so it was a real rude awakening for me. And it took me years to, first of all, accept where I was at. And second of all, to get the help that I needed. And thirdly, to kind of build in my own resilience to figure out, okay, so how do I get even better, like do better? How do I build some of my own resilience? How do I really rise up from this? And when I rise up from this, what do I do with that? And I always thought, man, I got to the darkest places, and I said to myself, if I survive this, and there was times where I didn't think I was going to survive it. If I survive it, I'm going to somehow help other people. And so coming out of it, I went back to school, got my master's, and there we go.
And I love what you say, because I know, like, a lot of times people who don't have some traumatic event in their life, and they go through like periods of depression and anxiety, like they think there's something wrong with them. And you always think it has to be associated with some event, but that even if you've had a perfect childhood, that you can still suffer from anxiety and depression. Right.
And I mean, you can always look back on, I mean, there's always things in life, there's ups and downs in life. But yeah, I look back on all of the things that have happened to me, and it gives you an awakening to kind of realize, like, for me, I was always A-type personality, go, go, go. And so I wasn't looking for illness to be, or mental illness to be something that would ever be a part of my life. Because being in that state where you're debilitated and you just can't even help yourself is really not a good feeling at all. Right. But I think all that I went through taught me that no one's immune to any mental health challenges. No one's immune to it. It can happen to anybody. And from it, I've learned, you know, the precipitating factors, what built up to that? How did I get there? And how do I go on from there? Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't send this, but now that we've kind of gone into that, how can people sometimes identify those precipitating factors? Because I don't know if sometimes, like, you just get in those states and you don't even look at what caused it. How can you start identifying, like, factors that may cause anxiety or depression? And
right. So the first thing is realizing where you're at, because sometimes you feel like, well, I'm not sleeping well, or I'm not eating well, or I can't get out of bed. Like, you're seeing these symptoms and you're not realizing this can actually be depression, or this can actually be anxiety, or whatever it is. So first of all, there's like this awakening that has to happen to realize that, yeah, I'm going through something that could be a mental health issue, and going to see somebody to talk about whether it could be a mental health issue, right? And then from there, working backwards and saying, okay, so what are the precipitating things what have I been going through? So for me, for example, I didn't realize until the nurses started asking me questions about, you know, what have you been going through, that I was like, yeah, I went through one of my good friends passed away suddenly in his sleep. And I'm the godmother to his child. And yeah, there was, you know, my dad had a diagnosis that was deadly, and we weren't sure what was going to happen.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, my grandmother collapsed and had a brain aneurysm and died. You know, looked like she was
Oh,
going
wow.
to die. And then yeah, my godmother, who was really close to me at the time, and I'm the only person who is her power of attorney and everything. She died suddenly. Like, and then I was going to work part-time, going to work full-time. I was like burning the oil at both ends, and then I was pregnant, and it was like a surprise pregnancy, and that, like, I didn't realize that.
I love it. You're like, oh my God, I'm tired.
I know, right?
I might need some therapy after this.
Exactly. And at the time, it just didn't occur to me. To me, it was like life. Like, you go through life, things happen, just go through it. Like, grit your teeth, bear it, get through it.
And so, as women, that's like so characteristic.
That's right. That's right. That you're supposed to be able to handle it all. You're supposed to be a good wife. You're supposed to be a good mother, a good employee, a good sister, a good daughter. You're supposed to be able to do it all, right?
Pick up the phone when your friend calls and they're down.
Right.
Lift them up and, yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're not paying attention, don't look after yourself. So paying attention is key. Paying attention is key to the different things that are in your life. And also self-care. Like, I used to teach on self-care. I still teach on self-care, but my story of self-care is so much different now because I've been through it. And I'm like, you don't want to be like me, hit the wall and not be able to go forward. Like, I used to teach on self-care, but I didn't actually practice self-care.
Oh gosh. And a lot of people do that. And I'm looking at it, I'm sorry if I say it wrong. I'm sorry. I don't have my contacts in, so sometimes I can't see things well. Cornerstone, FS is so hard to realize it when you're in the thick of it.
Yeah, sometimes it's so hard to realize it.
So if you are in the thick of it and you need to do self-care, what are some things, like, in the thick of it, knowing that I need to do something for myself before I go over the mountain? Maybe we're kind of getting ahead, but what are some things, since it's already out there, what are some things that, you know, you can kind of do while you're in the thick of it?
Yeah, so self-care, I want to just put it out there as well, that self-care is more than just bubble baths and manicures.
Yeah.
I know with my clients and with some of the workshops that I do, I do a self-care assessment, and there's 5 components to that assessment. So people are not just looking at physical, but they're looking at, so there's a physical self-care assessment, an emotional self-care assessment, a psychological self-care assessment, a professional self-care assessment, and a spiritual. So there's 5 components, and I do an assessment to assess where you're at in those 5 components. And then it helps you to realize, where do I focus my efforts on? Where am I, based on your scores, where am I really lacking? And actually, I'm sure that people, if they were interested, could actually Google and find self-care assessments. But it's a good starting place to kind of look at, where do I need to focus? So spiritual self-care, for example, could be, do I spend time, you know, some people are religious, some people are not. Do I spend time in prayer? Do I spend time in meditation? Or do I spend time in nature? Yeah. Emotional self-care can be various things. So journaling, or even spending time with friends and unleashing some of what you have built up, having the social networks and things like that. So there's various, and then the physical self-care in terms of how you're looking after yourself physically. So various things that people can do.
And that's really good, because I think sometimes that you might hear of like something like a form of self-care, but it might not be the thing that you actually need. So you say it's like, oh, you know, hey girl, when I need something for myself, I take a bubble bath. So I go take a bubble bath, and then I'm like, I didn't do anything for me. You know what I mean? So like, I like the idea of the assessment, because it allows each individual person to see like what areas they need, you know, if they're not in tune with themselves, what areas that they need to really focus on.
Exactly. And the emotional self-care, I think, also talks about a social aspect of it. So, you know, spending time with friends, with family, and being able to unload on someone. And psychological self-care does sometimes include a therapist, right? Do you need a therapist? Do you need someone in your life that you can unload on? Yeah.
And are you able to do this assessment with individuals online? Are you, Marci, able to do that assessment with individuals online.
Yes, I do so I do online therapy and I do in-person therapy. So yes, I do that assessment online and I do it in person with my clients as well.
By the way, Marci's in Canada, so
oh yeah. And where are you?
I'm in Ohio. I'm in
Ohio. So
yeah.
I feel like we're neighbors, even though we're so far away. Yeah, I'm in Ontario, Canada.
Cornerstone FS says, I'm interested. Wait a minute. I'm interested. I know some friends who would love to have an assessment where they are at too. Oh, awesome. So Marci, just go to, if they have questions about the assessment, can they just go to your Instagram page or your website?
Yeah, they can DM me, email me, go to the website in any way.
That's perfect.
So my handle on Instagram is Gray Matter Health, which you have pinned down there. So
and yep, I have a pin there, and it's all that you can go to the website, which is graymatterhealth.com. That's a great resource. That's really great resource, and it has all of what she offers there. We'll talk about that at the end when we close out, but just throwing it out there in case anybody has like their computer next to them while they're here and they want to pull it up. As a matter of fact, I can probably pull it up too, so I can show, because you do so much more than just individual therapy. I saw you have couples therapy.
Yes. So I do couples therapy with couples either married or engaged couples getting ready to be married, or common law couples, any type of couples therapy.
And what other things do you offer on, oh, here it is. I just got it up. For people who might be really interested. Oh, well, you have a planner too.
Yes, I do.
You got a little bit of everything going on.
Yeah. So the planner is a mental health and wellness planner. It is called the Empowerment Planner. Here it is. So it is a mental health and wellness planner. I created it because I found there was things that was really helpful to me, but it was in different places and there was nothing in one place. And also I knew that there were scientifically different components that people can do to help in terms of their mental health. So each and every day has a daily affirmation at the top. So affirmations we know are always helpful for positive mindset. Every day you also chart your mood and anxiety levels.
Oh, that's great.
And that also helps you to figure out what are your triggers for the day. You know, what are the things that are causing you. So each day as well, you're going to jot in how you feel. And I have a section in the very front that gives you different feeling words for trying to figure out how you're feeling for each day. But also you're looking at your meals each day. And then there's a self-care square. So in addition to you charting your meals and your water, that's your physical self-care.
That's awesome.
There's a self-care square. So how much sleep did I get? Am I taking my medication? Did I take time for me time? Whatever that me time is defined as. And exercise and some social activity, which social activity is so important when you're struggling with your mental health, because you tend to want to isolate. Right? Yeah. That's what you tend to want to do. So at the end of each week, this is why this is a planner and a journal in one, is because at the end of each week, there's a thought journal.
Oh, that's nice. So,
where you can write your thoughts for the week. And yeah, it has all the different components of a planner in terms of having different dates and your months, and it's not dated, so you can start at any time.
That's really good. Well, how did you get motivated to even that's a lot of work putting out a journal. And I was just thinking of that mood, like daily mood. I might need like an hourly mood indicator.
I know, right?
I might have to have like a race no win. Like, I'm happy. I'm frustrated.
Yeah, that's true. That's
I'm
true.
annoyed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so people decide on, usually I tell them do it in the morning or do it at the end of the day, and give yourself a general feeling of how you feel. A general score.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think I can be consistent for the most part.
Yeah.
So as you're creating, what are some of the things in your life that motivate you to create new products, new services, and keep those going?
I think it's just my passion for all things mental health, and because of the fact of where I've been in my life. So yes, I love being the helper, but I've already been on the other side of the fence, and I know how desperate it can be, and how desperate it can feel, and how it can feel like you're so alone in this battle that you can be in. And so I never want people to feel like they're alone. And so that kind of drives me to want to, and motivates me to keep going and to make sure that I can get my services out there to those who really need it.
That's really good. And that's why I wanted to have you on too, because I know especially after I checked out the website and saw everything you offered on there, and then saw the planner, I was like, well, there's just so much there that can be super helpful, especially like now that we're entering a new decade and there's so many, everybody wants this to be like the decade or the, 2020, like the year.
2020.
Yeah, this is like, like epic. Like this is going to be my epic year, that getting rid of all that anxiety, stress, frustration, the stuff that kept them down in the last decade, trying to move into that. So what are some tips, some, ways that, like, if you're starting to experience it, maybe you haven't really identified, but you're feeling like some days you're anxious, but you don't want to be there. What are some things that we can do to kind of keep that from becoming like cornerstone, FS said, like being in the thick of it?
Right. So number one is some self-awareness, right? So self-awareness in terms of where you're at, really being conscious of where you're at. So if you're finding you're having a lot of fights with people, or you're finding that you're overly, feel like you're overly stressed, or you're feeling like there's just been a lot of conflict in your life, or a lot of things seem to be going wrong, like stopping and doing just to check in with yourself, to figure out. Because sometimes when we're there, maybe sometimes feel like it's other people around us and what other people around us are doing.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And a lot of times we need to do some self-reflection to figure out, where am I at? What am I struggling with? So is it anger? Do I need to set up some boundaries? Is it shyness? Is it my anxiety is really high? Is it symptoms of depression? What is it that I'm really struggling with? So some self-awareness is really first thing that you want to do is key. Then you want to write down some goals for yourself for 2020. And these are some personal goals. They don't have to be big, huge things, but maybe it is that you want to work on, I want to work on forgiveness this year. I want to work on being less anxious this year, or I want to work on putting myself out there a little bit more. I want to work on bravery. I want to work on being a little more courageous. Whatever little personal goals you have, you want to jot them down for yourself. And then create a SMART goal for yourself. So SMART is the acronym for strategic, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, right?
It's in my book.
Oh, is it? Okay, great. Yes. So and if you Google SMART goals, you'll find SMART goals. But get it from Stephanie's book.
Yep.
Even better.
I'm trying to find it because I'm trying to find it. I won't find it now.
Yeah. So do that for yourself. Figure out what it is that you want to work on personally. Then I'd say be patient with yourself. And kind.
That's the hardest.
Yes, and kind to yourself. Really pay attention to what you're saying to yourself, and what is your self-talk? How do you talk to yourself? What are the things like, oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, that's so, like, I shouldn't have done that. Like, what are you saying that's beating up yourself? We all have that little critic in our sizes and gives us those shoulds, and we shouldn't, and we shouldn't, and we should have done this, and those things. So being mindful of that critic and being compassionate, like exercising that compassionate self, is so important as you go into your new decade. So you want to work on as well, just in general, a positive attitude and a positive outlook on things. So things may not be perfect. You might have started 2020 and things might be falling apart. Things may not be perfect. But what are the little silver linings? Like, what if life's giving you lemons right now? And this is when my posts that are coming up, so maybe that's why it's on my mind. But if life's giving you lemons right now, how do you make lemonade? Like, where's the silver lining? Where's the little sweetness? Where's the sugar? Where's the positive? Where are your strengths? What are the things that you can rely on? Where are the people that in your life that you can lean on? What are the little nuances that you can say is that little glimmer of hope? Hold on to those things as well. And then lastly, celebrate you.
Yes.
Have some time to celebrate you and who you are. You may not be perfect either, but celebrate you, right? And we all can be critical of our physical self, our attitudes, our different things that we're challenged with, but it's so important that we take some time to celebrate who we are.
Sorry, that is so good, and I think that's one that we really. I'm like trying to write these down real quick. We really, I say the last three are probably way harder for people than the first three.
Yeah.
Except for self-awareness, which comes with the last three, because I think I sat there, and this is one question I have for you. Like, if you're around people who aren't patient with themselves, aren't kind to themselves, are really negative, and I know you can't change people, what is like the best way to respond to somebody that you see going down that rabbit hole into that thickness?
So somebody else who's negative that's around you?
Somebody else, yeah. It's like you're on the side where you're watching somebody and you see them spiraling. What can you do
to help them? Now, do you want to help them? That's the question. Are you in a position to help?
Well, true.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you in that position to help? Or are you in the position where you need to set your own boundaries? So that's where you need to figure things out.
That's good.
Right? Because we're not, and even though we love to be the helper, and this is what I've learned, being a helper, can't be helping everyone and then you're not helping yourself, right?
Yeah, true.
And if you're wounded and you're really struggling with some things, you want to be able to know when to put some boundaries in place. So I always look at our natural fight, flight, or freeze. And always in every situation, you want to ask yourself, is this one that I'm going to fight for? Is this one where I need to get out of there? Or is this one I just need to freeze and pause and see what happens? Right?
Flight, fight, or freeze.
Right.
That's good.
Right. That's our natural instinct of what we do in life. And so in terms of every situation, look at every situation that way to say, is this something I really need to fight for? Is this something that I can just pause on, just freeze and not do anything for the moment? Or is this something I need to run away from, like right now? Right? Yeah.
My phone and do not disturb. I forgot. As soon as I got in, I was like, oh, I forgot my phone and do not disturb. Someone's going to call me.
Of course.
Of course. Oh my gosh. I was hoping we'd make it through without, so I'm hoping that I'm going to have to switch it and turn on do not disturb here if someone does that again. That is really good, because I think often, especially like I know as a nurse and probably as a social worker too, you have that automatic caregiver in you. And my husband gets on me about this all the time. Like, you can't help everybody.
That's right.
I've definitely had to do some flighting and some freezing because being around a lot of people and just wanting to be, and especially like by nature, I just want to I want everyone to be okay. Like, that's just my personality is just, I want everyone to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm a total peacemaker. And so I always want to find that way to help somebody, but sometimes I realize now that sometimes you can't. And even when I tried to help people, I realize I can't.
Right.
They have to be willing. Is there anything you can say to somebody? Or look at me, I'm still trying to help. I don't want to leave them out in the cold.
I know, right? Like, okay, so say to somebody who's what? Who is...
Okay, I'll give you an example. Let me see. If anyone has questions, please type them in while I'm like getting my own advice. So I actually have, this was like a friend, but it's like my boss who constantly puts herself down. And every time I'm with her, she's constantly put herself down. And I hate to see her do that because I know how destructive that can be. And especially she's new to her job. She's frustrated. And, so I try to say, well, give yourself some grace. I mean, you're just learning this job. And, you know, you just need to take your time and be able to learn it. And she just is constantly, she's not negative towards anybody, just to herself. But I know how self-destructive that can be.
Right. So we go down that road with her. So I'm so stupid, for example. Okay. So really, what makes you stupid? Well, because I did, you know, this mistake. So really, so everyone who makes that mistake is stupid.
Yeah, I guess.
And then they start thinking about, oh,
okay. That's good.
Actually, not so much.
That's
right.
Good.
So if I made that mistake, would I be stupid? Right.
Wow.
It's so easy to.
That's good.
It's so easy to criticize yourself, but you would never ever criticize someone else. So when you actually start to see it as, what if somebody else was doing the same thing? Would you do that? Would you say that same thing? And so what makes your standard different? Like, why is it different for you? So bring them down that rabbit hole that they're going down and see where it leads. But you're challenging the thoughts that they're having by doing that.
That's good. And it's not funny because I teach that, like I always teach, like, would you tell your best friend that? Would you say that to your girlfriend? Like, you know, something negative like that. Would you say that to them? Like, then why are you saying it about yourself? But like sitting there listening to somebody say it over and over again, I was just like, I don't even know what to say. Like,
right.
What do I say to you? Like, no, you're not stupid. But, you know, they start to believe that. But yeah, that definitely, okay. I like that, turning it around and taking them down that rabbit hole. Down that hole. That is, wow, that's really good. Is there anyone that has questions for Marci? Because I mean, I definitely have my own here, but I've been asking her all mine. But does anyone have any questions? She's also open. If you don't feel comfortable asking them here, you can DM her over on her page. Definitely DM her if you have questions. If you're seeking better understanding on like next steps for yourself or for somebody in your family. And if you're in I don't know where you are, like what area you're in, because I don't know. I mean, I know like Toronto, and I know it said like you're like in, where are you in?
Yeah, the Toronto area. I'm in the Toronto area. Okay. I'm on the suburb of the Toronto area.
I don't know much about Toronto. So she's in the Toronto area. So if you are in the Toronto area and you would like in person to have her, you know, therapy or a consult, you can reach her, go to her website, or you can go to her Instagram. Now, speaking, tell me a little bit about what you do as far as speaking. What kind of things do you speak on?
So just back to what you were just saying in terms of consultations, I do free 20-minute initial consultations for anyone who wants that, and they're by phone. So that, like, I know that I've given consultations to people as far as Atlanta and different places in the United States. So that's always free. 20-minute consultations are always free by phone. Okay, so what do I do speaking engagements on? Usually something related to mental health and wellness. So, for example, I've done for a group of business women, they wanted to know how to manage stress and how to prioritize. I sometimes do self-care, compassion fatigue, for first responders, boundaries and maintaining your personal boundaries and how to do that, parenting and how to do some, I do like an assessment in terms of your parenting style and your child's personality and how to parent to your child's personality. What else? I think those are the ones that come to mind, but
those are good.
I customize for those who want something specific. So it can be various things that people are asking for. So I do customize my speaking. Yeah.
Well, if you're interested in Marci as a speaker on any of those subjects, I know compassion fatigue, like right now at my job, I work at a children's hospital, but they're having a hospital-wide, and there's probably like, I don't know, like 20,000 employees or something. All group go through like Safer together, and it's all about just taking care of the caregiver, which I think is pretty awesome that they're taking the money and time to make sure that the caregivers are taken care of. It's all about the compassion fatigue.
Right. And another area is on suicide and suicide intervention that I talk about. So that's always, and the other end of the spectrum as well. Yeah. How to deal with that and how to work through that. Yeah.
Well, if anyone has questions, I don't know if you want to throw them in here. Marci, can you tell them where they can find? I know we've talked about it throughout, but before we close out, can you tell them where they can find you and where they can do consults and all that good stuff?
So you can find the planner on my website, graymatterhealth.com. You can find me always on Instagram. Oh, yeah, there it is, the website. You can find me on Instagram at graymatterhealth. You can always DM me. I'm very open to any conversation, questions. I do free initial consultations, 20 minutes by phone. I do individual, couple, family, group therapy. So I have a group that is just going to be starting on Saturday, and it's a 6-week group therapy for those who are either diagnosed or undiagnosed with anxiety, depression, or they're just extreme stress.
Is that in person or is that online?
That's in person. I did have a request for someone to join us online in that, which is a possibility that you can join us online. So usually that means one person can join us online, but it's an in-person group, and it's a 6-week group. So anyone who's in the Toronto area who knows someone who may be challenged in terms of mental health or suffering themselves with anxiety, depression, or struggling in any way, the group is starting on Saturday. So please do DM me and let me know that you're interested, and we can get you in there and registered before Saturday.
And do you have a workshop coming up?
I do. Did I talk about that?
No, but I saw it right here.
Yes, for twinsies on our screen. Yes, I have a mental health and wellness workshop. That is coming up February 29th. Really, really excited. It's actually also the official book launch, and I'll be talking about the planner, why the planner works, the research that goes behind the planner and why it works well for mental health and wellness in terms of the challenges that it gives you for anxiety, in terms of the different empowerment pages that are included, that are kind of worksheets that are included. So I'll be sharing that at the workshop. But it's an opportunity as a community to come together and find out more about mental health, about different diagnoses, how to support somebody who has a mental illness. Go on the website. You can get your tickets there on the website, graymatterhealth.com, to get your tickets. You do need to have a ticket to come to the event. Okay. But they're free tickets. Free tickets. Free tickets.
Oh, they're free tickets.
There's free tickets.
Oh,
yes,
gosh, well, get on
free
there.
tickets.
In the Brampton, Toronto area, get your butt there February 29th, 10:30 to 12. I wish I was in the area. 10:30 to 12:30, because I would be there for sure. And
I know.
You can find out more about, oops, wait a minute. I'm going to pull that back up. There we go. The Mental Health Awareness Workshop. There you go.
Yeah.
Right there. So just go to the website, grab your tickets if you're in that area. Marci, you have anything else to share with us before we close out? Because I feel like I have I can't wait to type this up. Like I have all my notes written here, but I want to get off so I can type it up. Because those are really good. That's really good stuff, and I just want to be able to share it with the community for people who couldn't make it.